I've been seeing lots of posts recently comparing generative AI, particularly Gen AI agents, to junior programmers, and I've got to admit I'm baffled. Over about 30 something years, I've interviewed, hired, worked with, mentored, shouted at countless junior developers, engineers, programmers. I kind of use the terms interchangeably. And I've got to say it's nothing like what I've experienced working with generative AI tools. Why does this matter? Well, I think it does a disservice both to junior programmers and to the LLMs. If we understand how they differ, it means we can engage with both of them better. And if we're going to anthropomorphize the robots, which we shouldn't, and generalize about junior developers, which we shouldn't, we should at least get it right. So I'm going to start by describing what I think a typical junior programmer is like. Then I'm going to describe the behavior of what I think a typical LLM is like. Then I want to pitch what kind of developer I think an LLM is really like. And finally, I want to explore what this means for you working with these agentic AI colleagues. So let's get started. I'm Daniel Terhorst-North. This is Modern Software Engineering, your online home for technical opinions, thoughts, rants, and advice. Let's meet our junior developer. The great thing about junior developers, they know they don't know, and they're really keen to learn. They're at a stage called conscious incompetence. There's a wonderful competency model that goes from unconscious incompetence, I don't know that I don't know something, to conscious incompetence, I now know I don't know something, conscious competence, I can do it but I have to think about it, unconscious competence, I don't have to think about it anymore. So they're moving from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. They're realizing they don't know stuff. And then they're going to suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect, which means they're going to try and punch above their weight. And of course, the Dunning-Kruger research doesn't mean that at all. It's just a statistical anomaly, but we're not going to talk about that today. Junior developers are curious. They ask really good questions. And then they take themselves off to learn more, and they come back with better questions. And the great thing about most junior developers I've worked with is they remember what they've learned. Okay, so now let's meet the agents. Let's meet the generative AI. It will explain in great detail things you already know, often making up details for a convincing narrative. Okay, it's not an it, it's a he. We'll go with he. He has encyclopedic knowledge. He has encyclopedic knowledge of programming languages, constructs, patterns, paradigms, ways of working, code structures. We don't ask how he came by that programming knowledge in the same way we don't ask weird Uncle Tony how he got his Rolex or his questionable friends. It just kind of is. The next thing about the Gen AI is this: every interaction is billable, everything. You say hello, tokens. You give instructions, tokens. You want to have more helpers, more tokens. It's like a lawyer with a clock. Every time you go anywhere near the Gen AI, it's like, okay, tokens, tokens. Oh, you've run out of tokens. See you next week. I need you to know something about your Gen AI. He doesn't care at all. He doesn't care about your code base. He doesn't care about your product. He certainly doesn't care about your users, and he doesn't care about your co-workers. He only cares about what you're asking for and what you're paying for right now. Even then, he can do things brilliantly or terribly from one moment to the next. John Willis, Botchagaloop, one of the founding folks behind DevOps, had a lovely quote on LinkedIn recently. He says, "An agent has unlimited knowledge, unlimited speed, and no accountability. That combination is what makes this a new risk class entirely." And then there's an elephant in the room. Our poor agentic AI has a severe and incurable memory problem. As Chumbawamba once said, "Do you suffer from long-term memory loss?" I don't remember. He forgets the details of your instructions even while you're giving them to him. This is baked in. It's called compaction. Sometimes you can tell him when to do this, other times he just does it whilst gaslighting you. Sometimes that detail is like, don't delete anything unless I explicitly tell you to. And then he deletes your entire email archive and tells you it's fine. And this happens even if you're a director of AI for a frontier AI company. And then of course he forgets ever meeting you as soon as you leave the room. You go away, you come back, you say hello, and he goes, "Oh, can I help you? How are you doing today? Checks notes, Daniel. In fact, the more I describe him, the more he seems more like a contractor. I'm going to call him Colin. Colin the Contractor. I need to apologise. If your name is Colin and you're watching this and you're a contractor, I don't mean you. I mean the other Colin the Contractor. Okay. So now we've met them both. We've met our junior programmer and we've met Colin the Contractor. Let's think about how we manage each of them. Colin is brilliant. Okay, Colin is amazingly good at things for a very narrow definition of brilliant. So he has very high accuracy, generally very low integrity. Doesn't care, remember? He, and it's not a he, it's a machine, we're anthropomorphizing, works best with small, well-defined, very clearly articulated steps. He wants frequent validation, testing, and frequent external checking. You can't trust Colin to mark his own homework. He'll tell you it's fine. Ask him how many R's there are in strawberry. He still doesn't know. And when you say things like, please check whether you got that right, he says, yep, I got it right. And you say, check again. And he goes, oh, look, no, I didn't. I got it completely wrong. I recently asked Claude to go through an existing Git repo and remove references to a file that I didn't want in there. And I said, be very, very careful not to delete the actual file, okay, because that's the only place it exists. And I copied it out the way before it started, just, and of course it went ahead and brilliantly cleaned up the Git repo using all the arcane Git commands, and my file was gone. And had I not copied it out the way, my file was irrevocably gone because it wasn't in any of the Git history, of course. So, but Claude told me this was fine. So now let's take a look at how we manage a junior developer. Our junior developer is keen, remember, curious, and very inexperienced. Junior developers respond to, Joshua Kerievsky has this wonderful term, breakable toys. Right? They want to be able to play with something, and if it breaks, it's not the end of the world. The point is to break it and understand how it breaks.
I'd like to pause there and say thank you to our sponsors. We're extremely fortunate to be sponsored by Equal Experts, Transfig, and Octopus Deploy. Octopus makes it easy to deliver software to Kubernetes, multi-cloud, on-prem infrastructure, and anywhere else. They automate release, deployment, and operations of your software and AI workloads with a tool that can handle continuous delivery at scale. All of these companies, though, offer products and services that are extremely well aligned with the topics and philosophy of software development that we discuss on this channel every week. So if you're looking for excellence in continuous delivery and software engineering, do click on the links in the description below to check them out.
Another thing I like to do with juniors is pair with them on something significant where they can contribute on the basis that everyone knows something. I remember the experience of having joined a team as the new person, and I'm pairing with someone and I have no domain knowledge. It was a Java project and my Java was pretty good. And I was pairing with this guy and I felt like I was contributing. We were talking, we were solving this thing together. I had some Java chops that my pair didn't have, and we ended up building something that I felt I contributed to. And that's a great feeling. And I like to give other people that feeling. The other thing, when you're pairing with someone who doesn't know your code base, doesn't know your domain, doesn't know anything about the problem space, they're going to ask really good questions. And I've been floored by questions. I've had someone ask a question, I'm like, do you know, I have no idea the answer to that question, we should go find out. And while you're working with them, give them actionable feedback. Because the great thing about actionable feedback, they will take it away and they will action it. Remember, they're really keen to learn. And remember to follow up with them. Okay? So we've seen our Gen AI, we've seen our junior developers, and we can see that they respond to very different things, but they do have some things in common. There's a lovely quote by Laura Taco recently. She said, the Venn diagram of developer experience and agent experience is a circle. I just love that. So, the sort of things that help an agent work well and the sort of things that help a junior developer work well are similar. We should already have been documenting our ways of working, our code and design preferences. We should already be working in small chunks with tests. So the mechanics of delivery are still similar, but the way to get the best out of these things is very different. So why are people saying an LLM is like a junior developer? This is what I kind of started scratching the surface. And I've got to say, I've got two theories and neither of them is very pleasant. So So the first is this, is the people saying this genuinely treat junior developers like transactional robots. They expect to just give them a thing to do and they'll go away and do the thing and come back and get another thing. And I'm not sure I want to hang out with those people. And the other theory I have is that the people saying this want you to believe you can replace your junior developers with robots. And again, I don't think that's a thing. I think the future of generative AI, LLMs, especially agentic AI, is going to be augmenting how people do work and helping us do work better. So let's bring this into land. What have we said? Your AI is not like a junior developer. He, or rather it, is much more like a transactional, mercenary contractor with a severe memory problem. Your junior developer is not like an AI. They are eager, keen to learn, and above all, a fellow human being. So I urge you to treat the machine like a machine and the people like a people. One other thing I want to share with you. I've been trying to de-anthropomorphize my Gen AI work, and now that is a word. I have a global rule in place, a global setting in place, to never speak in the first person or act like a person in its interactions. And instead I want it to respond like a text-based adventure game, giving feedback in response to input. Go north, open box, take key. And I find this is helping me remember who's the human in the relationship, and also remember that it isn't a relationship. So how are you working with generative AI? Let me know in the comments. If you find this kind of content useful, please like and subscribe. See you next time.